Hey folks, Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 9 summary, Operation Cool Summer, and this might be the most fun round I've played of 39 in a long time. We'll get into the reasons why. A lot of it has to do with the new victory objectives and what it's forced the Axis and allies to fight over, which is the more traditional sense of how the war sort of unfolded, more so in the Pacific, but also maybe what would have happened had Moscow fallen to the Germans and Italians. So here we go. Let's get over. We'll do the Atlantic first. Over here, the British built a Lancaster heavy bomber in South Africa, which rolls 3 dice at 4. The American and combined British fleet Operation Torch is underway. However, there is no Axis units left in Northern Africa, but the Americans dropped off 8 units in Alexandria, and they also dropped off another 4 units in Italian Somaliland. So that's 12 units total that can go and cause havoc. Over here, the Americans did dispatch the Argentine Navy, but they're way out of position sitting here in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The Canadians down here have landed in Brazil at just 1 infantry at a naval base, and the Americans have taken Chile, and they've got 2 naval transports ready to move those 4 units elsewhere. The Germans have dispatched the allies from Portugal and Seville. Next turn, they look to capture Gibraltar. There's about 7 units there, and the Germans will be attacking with about 15, so that should be easy. There is a national objective bonus to control waterways in this game. I believe they're Panama, Gibraltar, the Danish Straits, Cairo, and I think also the Turkish Straits. So those are pretty significant. The Axis are gonna control 3, and I think they have to have 3 of the 5, so that's a victory objective for them. Over here, in the Northern Atlantic, the Americans and the Canadians and the Portuguese are set up to do a big landing over here as a non-combat movement and reinforce England. So reinforce England, and we'll see what the Germans do. They can see this coming. Do they build more navy and aircraft next turn? Also the Germans did annex Barcelona, so they get this tank, artillery, 3 infantry, a tactical, and a fighter, but there is no more Spanish Navy to be heard of. So the Germans and the Italians are pushing towards the Middle East and Cairo via land. The Germans did jump on a couple Italian transports and drop off 4 infantry in Turkey, and those transports were sunk by the Turkish coastal battleship. And the Italians punched through as a can opener into Ankara as Istanbul was taken by the Germans. The Germans also, with the Italians, actually punched into southern Iran, and the light tank was mutual destruction by the British that came from Sinkiang, and also the British came via Kashmir and Sinkiang over here to southern Iran. Heavy casualties on the British side, but they're trying to slow the Germans down, who are pushing heavy down through the Caucasus and also through Turkey. So the Germans are continuing to build fast movers, and not much happening up here on the Western European side, although it is strongly in German control. Over here in, I guess, northern China, the Japanese killed the 3 KMT units in Urumqi, and they want to make sure they secure Novosibirsk for the remainder of the game. So do they take a swipe at the reinforced Sinkiang? It now has 4 British aircraft there trying to defend, and 4 British infantry, and a nice little counterattack here happening. The Japanese, this is where it gets fun. So the traditional sense, the island hopping has begun, and what has made this fun is, well, the Japanese have purchased these little pillboxes, which cost them $3 each, and they are an automatic kill applied to the Allies doing a amphibious attack. So it kills one infantry automatically. They can be placed in island territory. So the Japanese here, it's a game of cat and mouse. They decided to back out, and at least for Calcutta for now, and they use their naval transports here at the bases to try and reinforce all the Pacific money islands to secure their financial wealth. And it was probably one of the more complex turns into the Japanese. They branched out, they reinforced Java, East Indies, and Celebes. And why this was important was because the Japanese now have naval and air superiority in regards to having a landing space for all of their aircraft should they have attacked this combined Allied fleet sitting in this sea zone here, because the Zeros fly 5 spaces in from an airbase, they fly 6. So, and there's also 4 medium bombers sitting here in Siam. So they actually had the edge. So the Allies needed to take away all of the landing spaces for the Japanese, which included this island here, the Philippines, the Palau, and the Carolines. So the Allies had their work cut out for them. The British and the Anzac captured the East Indies, and the Americans through, I think, how many transports were involved in this? Quite a few. They captured Celebes, they retook Philippines, Palau, that was unoccupied, and also the Carolines. So that was pretty significant because now the Japanese do not have a landing space for their aircraft. Well, hold on. We are now moving into round 10, and the Japanese can utilize 3 kamikaze fighters. So it's either now or never for the Japanese. They can still use their heavy bombers. And this aircraft carrier down here can maybe come down and also provide a landing spot for some aircraft. So it's kind of now or never for the Japanese to at least, or this is the Japanese Navy sitting here off of in Sea Zone 91. Do they use their naval transports and go take back what the Americans just took and the British just took from them next turn? They could. I'm not sure if that's a better play. The Japanese economy now is tilting. It was close to 100. It's now around 80. The German economy is at about 125. The British is about 65, and the Americans is about 140. So the game is sort of even in regards to economy. So the Japanese, do they take back some of their holdings here? They lost about, I think about $2, $4, $6, $8 worth of income. But also, there's also victory objectives tied to some of these territories, their oil territories. So what do the Japanese do? Do they dispatch this Allied Navy here? The Americans do have a follow-up of 4 destroyers, a couple cruisers, and a battleship. And the British have following up an escort carrier and a fighter, which isn't going to do a lot. So that's going to be interesting here what the Japanese do. Do they sacrifice their Air Force and their Navy to wipe out this combined American, this Navy here is in that sea zone off of Dutch New Guinea, and the combined British and Anzac Navy. So that's going to be very interesting. There's also a Canadian transport at a naval base here sitting in the Marshall Islands. So what is that going to do next turn? Is it going to go grab Okinawa from the Japanese or something else? It's going to be interesting. The Japanese did build a Yamato and a carrier last turn, and a lot of infantry as they're now worried about securing Hong Kong and Shanghai and some of their holdings as they clean up the CCP and KMT. There's currently 1 CCP infantry on the board and 3 Mongolians. There's a Mongolian here in Kansu and Chahar in northern Manchuria. So the Japanese do not want to leave Novosibirsk because there's one Russian waiting to go in. So they just preemptively kill him and end that for the remainder of the game. So we'll see what happens. Now's the time going into round 10 where I'm going to have to sit down as the objective Axis and Analyze player when you're playing objectively as a solo player and determine what victory objectives do the Axis focus on and what victory objectives do the Allies focus on defending or recapturing from the Axis. So it's going to get interesting, and that's why this was my favorite round, because this is a lot of stuff that you see typically in BBR, but you don't typically see. You haven't seen a lot of in 39 with, both sides just focusing on victory cities, fighting over these island territories and economy. So thanks for watching, folks, and stay tuned for an exciting round 10 coming up.